So I was coming back probably a couple of days and just on here doing the live thing today. We're gonna see. Um, gonna have a real interesting conversation about some things. Gotta get my question up in just a second. Just thought I'd come up here and do this question and see what we got. See if we get anybody come through. I'm gonna test the waters to see. Would you ever stop watching the NBA? That is the burning question of the day. Going to see how many people come through. If I get any enough people, I'll stay on for at least an hour and a half. If not, I'll be less than that. I just want to see what the vibe is like. It is a little early, but we will see what we're working with. We'll see what we have in proximity. Depends on how your weather is. I hope everybody's doing good as you're preparing for holidays. If you're celebrating, be safe. Be responsible. Just common sense stuff because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of situation out here. So just wishing people just kind of seeing what we got real quick. If anybody's gonna come on through. We working with. Putting everything out there. So let's see what we're working with. Please hit the likes and the views. If you happen to be on, come on through. I know it's early in the day. We just thought we were gonna try a little something. If I see anybody coming through, I'll be on for a while. If not, I will call it a day. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? You just got on. Okay. So the whole thing with Ryan Clark and was it Pat Backup was something Pat? What happened? I heard some, but I didn't really bother to touch the story. What happened? Yeah, I heard something, but I didn't really jump into it. As you know, I don't really jump into Aaron Rodgers stories because I'm sorry, 4-10 teams and quarterbacks don't really. There's nothing for me to say. Unlike unlike some other creators or networks and stuff. Clark got a ring. You know, Aaron Rodgers sounds a lot like Skip Bayless. Okay, that's a story. Thank you. I'm gonna write that one down. Aaron Rodgers. Dissing Ryan Clark. That's all he ever does, though. No resume. That's funny. Even though, and the problem is he beat him in the Super Bowl, but we forget about that. We're not gonna talk about that. The problem is that too many people didn't sit around. That doesn't make you better. Okay, so Aaron Rodgers has all those MVPs, but guess what? He's not considered. I said that a long time ago, but the LeBron stands didn't want to hear me though. He's a diva, and if you don't shut up and don't say what he wants, he has a tendency to act all funky. He's so tiring. I wish that someone would plant him one good time on the field, and then his butt has to like. They really have to get him off the field because he is such trash. He is overrated behind Green Bay. Should have let him go like 3 or 4 years ago. He never was talented. Yes, and you can make the case a 2 point upgraded version of John Elway, but Elway went out in style. Elway wasn't dumb like this turkey. This turkey runs his mouth. You know, he remind me also like Djokovic, the tennis player, Novak, except that dude actually wins. I can't stand him, but he wins. When's the last time Aaron Rodgers won anything of note? And don't give me his MVPs, because that game against the 49ers that Jimmy G won in Green Bay, he had a wide open man standing there. He threw that bad bomb. Bad bomb. And he doesn't have to like what people say, but I'm going to tell you something. Stop getting your coaches fired. Stop changing up your teams. Stop struggling in the game against Mac and Cheese Jones where y'all they're dueling. And don't lose 10 games and we won't have nothing to say to you. Jordan Love needs the equivalent of 2 years to lose 10 games. He's outplayed you since y'all left. I know you were out last year, even though that was a butt sack. Don't say that. We're decent. I'm not ecstatic. We got a lot of work to do on defense. And unless we're the best team, it doesn't really mean much to me. We're not the best team, so it doesn't really. Josh Allen looks great, but it looks like a Russell Westbrook situation. Looks like a half-hearted team. I'm not impressed. Yeah, we beat Detroit. That's and should have spanked they behind. Not impressed with the results. We're good. We're not great. We're not Philadelphia. I saw Stephen A. yesterday. If you watched that in his top five, how you doing? What's up? I see I'm here nice and early. Yeah, well, I saw what Kevin Durant said, but I blame Adam Silver. And unlike Stephen A. and them other heads who won't tell the truth, it's who runs the league. It ain't the players. The players don't run the league. He is, because you don't kick an offside kick when you come just got through scoring unless you don't trust your defense. I know that's right. I know. Allen is something else. I hadn't seen. I know that took me back because I used to live in the area, and that's some dedication. That takes you back, and it feels old too. That's the crazy part. Yeah, yeah. Well, I yeah, I guess. I guess. Even though Dennis Johnson and Gus Williams won the chip, I guess so. I really don't think about it to be honest with you because it feels like they should still have a team there. It's just a shame. Kemp was underappreciated in hindsight. Kemp was the Clyde Drexler of the '90s as far as dunks go. People forget the Rain Man. That was a time when we didn't have the technology. He's not getting in. Blake Griffin ain't getting in. He ain't getting in. No, he didn't. He played his best ball in Seattle. When he got to Cleveland, he got all fat and became clump, and then Portland. You really want to appreciate him. His Seattle years was off the chain. Yeah. Well, that was a PR move. But actually, Vin Baker was a good player. It just that Kemp had wired his welcome in Seattle. But Vin Baker was a good player. He did fit George Karl's system. Ironically, George Karl went up to Milwaukee because Chauncey Billups won as a Finals MVP. Chauncey Billups was leading the Detroit Pistons. Chauncey Billups actually kind of overachieved. Kemp and Griffin underachieved. Sean Kemp was never the same after the finals against the Bulls, and Blake Griffin was just the never was because they were dunkers. You know, when you become a one trick pony, that's how people look at you, fair or unfair. Chauncey came up big, but Chauncey asking me, do I think he's a Hall of Famer? No. What to think about? They got the tough stretch coming up. They got to play Tampa Bay, Washington, and Philly. If they win one of those games, I guess you can have a parade for being 7-9. I guess you can, or 8-9. Maybe you can have a block toilet paper parade with a star on the side of the toilet paper. Meathead should be fired, and so much needs to change. Jerry Jones needs to step down. He was the most important piece, but Chauncey was the difference maker in that finals against the Lakers. He outscored Gary Payton. Plus, they went to like two straight finals and all those Eastern Conference finals. So I'm not really getting on at Jay Will because I'm this ain't Stephen A. Smith and this ain't Broussard. Now I don't sit around talking about whack teams that are under 500 that the sale was set out to them at the middle of the season. So you ain't so before people come at me talking about what I think about them beating Carolina and whack teams, tomato cans, and Cooper Rush's 3-1, all that. I don't want to hear that mess. I'm not trying to hear it. I ain't trying to hear it. Their season has been done, and it's nothing to talk about. I'm not one that sits there and beats a dead horse. Stephen A. don't even do the sniggling in the chair when they lose no more because it's done. Their season has been done. Meathead been a dead man walking for like 8 weeks now. So they got smashed. Was it by Philly? I forgot which game it was they lost. They were done. It was already eliminated. They can't run and all that. So it's not talking about. Hiding out from what? You might for and get some charity donated to you. For what? They laughing at you. They ain't gonna mess with you. They're laughing at you. They're not gonna beat you up. They're gonna laugh at you. When you suck and no one is really, they still a 500 team. You do know that if Atlanta miraculously gets the number one seed, a bench quarterback will have the number one rank in that division. That's not something I would go boasting about, Ted. You do know that, right? You do know that, right? You do know that Michael Phoenix can win out and the Tampa Bay loses a game or so, Atlanta wins the division. You do know Kirk Cousins gets that division trophy money. You do know that, right? Balling to what? They spanked the Chargers. I'll give you that. But he's streaky, and the division sucks. He impressed me if he can get to a second round. If he wins a playoff game, I'll give you that. No one's gonna talk about the Sixers. And CJ Will, the teams you mentioned, they don't get no play with me. I know Joel Embiid got hurt. I didn't do a video about it because He's self checked. That season is a wash. That it's done. If he can't go, I'd say at least play one more game. I think they'll play him one more game. I don't think that he'll sit out for the whole. But if they can win one game without him and they play him probably against Pittsburgh, they'll probably play him one more game. You know, this is the thing. I'm not feeling sorry for him. I'm not even tripping. They are 13-1. Let that sink in. If he can win three, they're gonna win the Super Bowl. That's all I gotta say. If he can win three, they're gonna win the Super Bowl. Because Mahomes will be so rested and ready, and they in the second round, they'll win the Super Bowl. So you better hope that Wentz loses a game. Because if he wins three, they're winning the Super Bowl. And if they can halfway hold up, they're not gonna get beat. And I'm being real about that because he will be healthy. And they only gonna get better in the postseason. And they've probably got some plays designed that you ain't even seen. They're bored. 13-1 and bored. Everybody's doubting him. I don't know why you doubt this man. Man camps out in January in the AFC Championship game. I just don't understand people's logic. Buffalo, Josh Allen got to play at a breathtaking pace to stay up. Philly got to win like 30 in a row to stay up. Detroit had to win like 20 in a row to stay up. Pittsburgh got on late start. Do you realize how dominant Mahomes is? I don't think people understand the totality. 13-1, and y'all consider it washed and done? Please. Eh, I understand. I get it. Anyway, keep on answering this poll question. Tell me what you think. So far, more people saying they will start watching. I think they're getting tired. Well, as a quarterback, but then I when you say like Magic, it's the he does rub off on so many people. She had it coming. And DeMar DeRozan, I mean, what kind of interview was that? I didn't even want to acknowledge him. What kind of interview was that? She got called out on something that's been festering, which tells me that the ESPN plantation might be done with her. You think she gonna sit there and say, "Yeah, I'm a shuffleboarder"? Do you really think she gonna do that? Do you think she's gonna do that? Of course she gonna deny it. But see, I did my video, but I didn't just roast her. I talked about the real problem. It's ESPN. That's the reason why she gets the job. You can't get that job if you don't roast black folk. You can't get the job. They do that. That's part of your clause. You can sit there and talk all you want. Yeah, listen to the music industry. Listen at them. Cats say the N word all the time. Call black folks out of name all day, all long. Send that around the world like in a bottle as a message. So, are you ever shocked or surprised that you get paid to just say what you want? Are you really shocked or surprised? No. Mm-mm. I'm not. So, she's just doing what she's allowed to do. That's all it comes down to. That's what you need to boycott. You got a problem with ESPN? Start watching that mess. You got a problem with any of the networks? Start watching. I don't. I watch them in parts. I don't watch them to support them because I know what they're about. I can't even look at ESPN the same because Max Kellerman ain't there. I'm just keeping it 100. See, it cracks me up when they say that because you know what that really means. Word. That means they're saying she's an N-word lover. That's what that means. There's codes to it. That's what that means. And you know what would be so hilarious to me if Caitlin Clark came out and said she just loves Dr. Umar Johnson. That would crack me up. I would laugh hysterical if she said she watches Dr. Umar Johnson. Wouldn't that crack you up? Especially since he goes on his rants about what he feels about people and their choices and things that he says, which, again, that doesn't defy. your experiences. It doesn't. You know, that's a lot of that. Your uniform is your uniform. But anyway, it cracked me up when she came out and said that she was a big Umar Johnson fan. I would crack up just to throw it in their faces. I'm proud of her in that regard because she said something that she knows she was being used for something. Yep. She's being used for something that has nothing to do with the actuality. It's stuff that I speak on all the time. I don't care who you're with or what you support. Just don't make it be your end all be all that that's all that there is to you. And see, that's the thing. She can play ball. She good, but she wasn't like this second coming of something that they made out, but it was an agenda. That's what it was. And that shows you how racist it is. Because if it was only about her talent, we stick on her talent. We wouldn't be trying to make her into all, you know. So it is a very dangerous slope. Mm-hmm. She can't walk out with just any brother though. Gotta walk out with a brother that's got some style, got something that's kind of, can't walk out with just anybody. That would be the ultimate. But hey, they might force that hand. She may fool around, have a nose ring, and she be like, "You never know." She knows what's up, cause them people done pulled her coat to it. And I don't want nobody come at me talking about who it's not racist out here. So I'm like, what do you think this is about? What you think this about? Time magazine sold out badly. Call her the athlete of the year and Trump the man of the year. I'm like, can you just throw it in people's faces more? I mean, come on now. You know. And see, the bottom line is they don't even know why they like her as much as they do. They really don't. I mean, yeah, she could shoot outside, but there is no flair about her. There's nothing cutting edge about her, you know. So what's the hype about? You know what's up. So, but we got to deal with this mess every few years. Need a superhero. Need somebody because we can't. We're scared that they're taking over our world and our universe. That's the model that's being sent. That's what's up. Please keep on hitting these likes and come on in. If you coming in, feel free to comment. I welcome folks to come on through. If you got a moment, come on here. Um, to everybody, appreciate them coming through this year. I just sent out a note. Appreciate everybody that has commented, supported, membership, been aboard. Thinking, well, because he was in playing for the Celtics, and but he was not going to disrespect the game. He wasn't going to be part of that mess. He welcomed playing against black players. He told you that he did how he felt. You know, he wasn't a politician. He didn't want no parts of that mess. He just wanted to go and do his job, take his lunch pail and do what he's supposed to do. He wasn't into all that other stuff because he been around it all his life. You know, he understood. You know, and he just wanted to be. He just wanted to be treated like anybody else. He go out there and play ball. He wasn't going for that. And that's one of the reasons why they love him as a player, but they can't really get him because he never let them be got. Same thing with Jerry West and Rick Barry, because they weren't those cats either. Jerry West played the white collar role. Jerry West wasn't for no foolishness. He came to speak out. And Rick Barry's crazy as all. Rick Barry always telling you how he feel. That's why he never get no TV. We never talk about crazy white dudes who don't or cats that don't get no. Now Bill Walton would have fit that criteria, but he didn't say a couple. He was a couple things in between. But Bird, Rick Barry, Jerry West, if you ever notice, Walton was crazy because he smoked all the time. That's all that was, and he talked kind of crazy. But he always tried to fit in though. Bird didn't try to fit in. Bird wasn't trying to be no analyst. Bird wasn't trying to, you know, he played. Neither Did Rick Barry or Jerry West? I notice these things. It never gets talked about because they're considered great players. But you ever notice the white former athletes who get on the usually guys that were what we call third tier, the Pat Rileys, Phil Jackson doesn't really do media, but he does do it selectively who he talked to. He does selective, but Pat Riley and Kerr and all them out there. Notice that the big prominent white dudes don't do a lot of talking. If you think about it, Smile was lethal. Yeah, I did a video about him. I talked about he said the difference between basketball today and yesterday is just copycat. Oh, listen, I'll always hold him in high regards as a player because he had to deal with it. He was an undersized guy. He was. That's what I say about with Dame. That's all I gotta say about Dame. See, that's the problem with Adam Silver's league. He gonna have around here got these turkeys with the church choir trophy, horseshoe after church services, and a sack race, and you won something. You ain't win no ring. I can go to Walmart and put a ribbon and a string around your neck. Oh, you getting excited about that? Cuban zirconia medals that you get at Walgreens? I might. Well, he's so excited. And Giannis was rapping and dropping bars. I'll consider it. These turkeys are too funny though. They really taking that mess serious too. Doc Rivers is too. He sure is. I'm glad you seeing this. Cause these cats actually be walking around with a straight face like they didn't want a chip. I actually heard who was it? Um, uh, I actually heard Kendrick Perkins saying that this is gonna matter in time. He said this is gonna matter in time. He talking about like LeBron and Giannis winning. I'm like, look, this don't mean nothing. They trying to give everybody like, oh, you gotta win this. This is special for your resume. No, it's not. But what I do like about it, it makes teams that if you are like the Atlanta Hawks or the Minnesota Timberwolves or Sacramento King, that's who should win it. The ones who ain't gonna never win nothing. You can tell when somebody ain't won nothing because Dane was all excited. You won what? You won a Walmart trophy? You won a ribbon? What you getting excited about? You know, in season tournament. Oh yeah, let's have a party. I mean, come on, man. If you really understood how embarrassing it was, you would even. I couldn't imagine Magic and Bird and Jordan and Shaq and Kobe and D Wade getting excited about winning this mess. I couldn't. And I wouldn't want to see it. I don't like it now. But I will say this: this is probably as good for Milwaukee because they have a hard time regular season, and Doc don't have to choke this away. So they actually play good defense in it. But if it was a real finals, it ain't gonna happen. The Kobe video pertaining to remind me because I done a few Kobe videos. Which one was it pertaining to? I gotta remember that one. I'm kind of stumped on. Well, they got assets. Shoot, they got assets. All he need is a guard that can score. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, with the D Wade, Boogie. Thank you. Yeah. That one. Yeah. All he needs is a guard that can score on a regular basis. The problem he's got is the cats he got ain't consistent. Michael Portis Jr. would be ashamed of himself. He should be way more dominant than he is. Aaron Gordon should be a double double every night. If Jamal Murray don't be hurting, don't get in his feelings, and don't take so many crazy shots, why can't he play the Lakers every night? Because if he could play the Lakers every night, we might be considering him one of the 20 greatest players ever. And too inconsistent. They ain't got bench. And their coach is a beat of a meathead too. He's always trying to puff up against the Lakers and puff and buff. They don't record. They don't ask more of them. Yeah, but they got to make a move. They need to make a move. There's quite a few people that could compliment. Yeah, well, I'm not gonna touch that on the video. They all gamble, but it was just dumb though. They'll probably get him a slap sentence. It won't be that long. Shouldn't be. And if he snitches, he'll be out for probation, as he should. Because I already told you about that. I already did. I already told you well, who I thought Belich. That's. I told you he needs a real head coach. All that clowning that they do, all that trash talking they do, and then what? You're fighting to get in, and you might not get in, and you got too much talent. You got a top three receiving core, a top five quarterback. You don't turn the ball over like that. What is the excuse for being so, you know, half-hearted? So he got every right to. I don't blame him. Shoot, because you know what? He's starting to feel older. You hear about Mahomes' legacy and all them rings and all those trips, and your trip was 2, 3 years ago now. Last time you went, Kendrick Lamar was like fifth on the musical chain going on stage. Now he's the leading man. Think about it. Because Kendrick was just an afterthought after Dre, Snoop, Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent, and Eminem. He was fourth or fifth on the food chain. He's going back to Super Bowl, getting his own spot. You're going to be watching him at your crib. Just saying. So Burrow should be competing for championships. It's a travesty that he's not. So that's all I got to say about that. Shanahan to the Bears. If you were the Cowboys, do you make my guy? Shanahan to the Bears. I like what Troy Aikman said. I did that video. I seriously considered because I think with Caleb Williams, well, see, first of all, he can't do nothing else with Frisco. That shit about sales. He didn't had three different quarterbacks. What have they done? Choke jobs, and it never was. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. If you make him the highest paid, then where you gonna have money to get any attract any free agents? And you're in a situation where if I'm Micah, I sign 1 year, 2 year deals, and then I consider options after a second year. I do a one and a one and a one. Do like LeBron, do a one and a one. If it don't look good next year, then you bounce. I can't see him coming back much longer because he this meathead and they tell me he want to play with meathead. He don't. They don't like their quarterback, so you got a X factor. That's a strike. You hit and miss on offense. Jerry Jones is act crazy. So why would you want to stay on that team? And you're starting to get old too. 2, 3 years ago they said you were the next LT. That was 2, 3 years ago. What's happened since then? First round exits, and now you are not even a playoff team. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do? So all right, now please continue to hit the likes. I see more people coming through. If you got any comments, feel free to come in. We need to I want to get some comments in, see what's going on, see what we're dealing with. Yeah, John Lynch laughed about it to the Bears, but hey, if you can get some draft picks, is it funny? And I don't think the 49ers are going to. I don't think the 49ers are going to. I don't know what they're going to do. They got some decisions to make because how long do you keep it up? You didn't choke 2 Super Bowls and NFC Championship games. So you don't choke 3 big games in the last 5 years. That's hard to overcome psychologically. Jay will always got to bring the Cowboys up like I care about them. Micah might get it, he might not. If I was him, I consider getting out of there though. That's just me though. I understand though. You agree with what? You agree with what? What you agree with? Tell me what you agree with. What you agree with? Well, so I know a lot of people always blame LeBron, and he is accountable for why the ratings are down. But that Warriors Mavs thing was real. Nobody, yeah, nobody. Steph and think about it. Steph and Clay made history together. Nobody cares about seeing them against each other. This ain't Shaq and Kobe. This ain't LeBron and D Wade. LeBron and D Wade was kind of anticlimactic because they buddy buddy. But or Kawhi against the Spurs. And the thing is that that barrage is talent. Okay, y'all got your own chat going on. That's funny. But there's too many threes going. If I can chime in on that, Jay Will, the only thing I'm going to say is this: all the Packers got to do is win one game, and if they get sometimes in a strange twist of fate, if they don't have to place all that and get one of those teams and they beat one of them, then they control their destiny. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. The Vikings and the Lions might knock each other off. Then you just got to really worry about the Eagles. We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I think the Packers, though, are a good team, but I think they lack. Their coach got to get a little more tighter on their defense. There's just certain things they didn't do against Detroit. Because the Philadelphia game, they got physical out. The Viking game was just mistakes. But again, they've played better. They played great, better football since then. And how they lost the Lions was just like I said, a couple of things here and there. They are. I said that last year. They should have beaten Frisco. Jordan Love is legit. I'm gonna put to you like this about Jordan Love. He's where you hope C.J. Stroud is in another year or two. He's legit. They already giving him nicknames: J Love, J Lo. Calling them names. J High. I Matt LaFleur just has to do a better job of finishing up. That's all. They got a legit situation, and make no mistake about it. Any one of those three teams can come out that NFC North and be a problem. J Love. Mm-hmm. As long as he don't call himself Brother Love, he all right. For obvious reasons. Please hit that likes up, hit that poll up. If you're on, feel free. Let me know. Hit that poll question up. We are here bright and early for you. So let's see what we got. By the way, check out my podcast. If you want to see any of the lives, they fall up underneath the podcast that I got on there. Hey, he learned from Kirk Cousins, so but he also has a good offensive situation, so you can do it. Mediocrity does get paid. Mediocrity does get paid. If you're mediocre enough and you stick around long enough, they give you opportunity. I'm still not sold that he's a top flight quarterback, but I'll say this in his defense. He's smart enough. He got the right situation. He ain't blowing nothing. So he deserves what he get. I ain't got no problem with it. He didn't play his dues if you can play with the Jets. Harbaugh was a feisty, tough second tier quarterback. He was one of those, and he almost beat Pittsburgh. That a game the Colts played the Steelers AFC Championship game. Just the dude trapped the ball. Harbaugh threw a bomb. It was that close for him going to Super Bowl. Kind of like how he coached Michigan. The way he coaches is the way he was as a quarterback. He kind of overachieved. He was feisty, very spunky. One of those kind of guys that I call a second tier. If Kirk Cousins played with his passion and Baker Mayfield played with his passion, those guys could get to a Super Bowl. Yep. The ball went up the Colts. It was a Hail Mary. It should be on YouTube. Yeah, it was against the Steelers, the AFC Championship game. Threw the ball in the end zone, and dude trapped it. Because I thought, wow, he really made himself. He was a spunky, tough, hard nosed quarterback. Not great, but beyond mediocre. But he played tough. He was tough, dude. He feisty. Just kind of like you know, and he was a good. People who saw would say he was good, tough. I'm trying to think of who I would compare it to. I mean, obviously, we'd say he was like a broke Drew Brees. That's what you call him, like a broke. But Harbaugh was tough, yo. Just like what he did with the 49ers. He can coach. He understands. Like, I'm going to tell you like this. Justin Herbert is like head and shoulders overly talented than Harbaugh ever was. I don't remember James playing, but Herbert doesn't have the mental capacity that John Harbaugh had. If he did, the Chargers would be a problem right now. If he did, if he did, because Herbert got skills, but he just don't know how to utilize it. It just don't come out. Whereas Harbaugh, I got a saying, as I always say, the guys can be more talented than you. They can be better than you. They can't outwork you. Not too many people ever outworked John Harbaugh. That's why Michigan won the chip. And he proved it as a coach. How close he was with the 49ers, even though the lights went out in New Orleans. But what you want me to do about that, Ted? What am I supposed to say? They've won some games. They shouldn't have won that game Sunday. Bo Nixon is overrated. I don't know what Cowherd is smoking. He plays for both teams. You can't. He's got some of that Jameson in them. Their defense is legit. They run pretty good. They do enough to be pretty good. Now, ask me about them in a year or two. Now, that's the Sean Payton aspects is kicking in. I think in a year or two they're gonna be a real problem. I don't think they're a problem this year. They're not quite ready to be a problem yet. But another year or two, they could be a problem. But it's obviously Sean Payton got them, and he can do that. His problem is how can he finish? Because he's got some of that Kyle Shanahan's in him too. Why not? Why wouldn't they? Because aside from Kansas City, who else can't they not beat over in that whack division? They can split with the Chargers. They can sweep the Raiders. So that's like 3 wins right there. You'd want to get fired from there. They suck. I mean, that's embarrassing. And they already were messing with a third tier quarterback because Garner Minshew is a third tier quarterback who masquerades as a second tier. They stink. They can run the ball. They play good for 1 quarter and then they get rolled. They're so not like Pierce, all right, but taking that job, that's almost like, man, look, you've been better off being the fry cook at the pizza joint, at the rib joint, than taking that job. That ain't nothing but getting fired before you know it. Ain't nobody want to go to no Giants to do what? What? Be a cheerleader? To do what? Coach about to get fired. They messed up royally. Why would you want to go to a team that had a MVP caliber player and y'all told him to walk and we're gonna back up a third tier quarterback? Now look at what you just typed and tell me where that makes sense. Well, the rat's there too. What's your point? Ain't nobody trying to go there. He'd be better off going to the Jets if we're gonna play that game. If we're gonna play that game, go to the Jets. Nobody gonna play for the Giants, man. Giants need too much work. Mentally, they need a lot of work. They stink, and you need somebody that can light a fire. They were playing gimmick ball with the coach a couple years ago when they went to the playoffs. Now, this ain't the 20 years ago. We live in 2024, 2025. We have social media now, NIL, wherever you go. day is done. You can win anywhere now. You put yourself on the map. You don't need that no more. Because Patrick Mahomes is shining pretty bright in Kansas City. That's not exactly New York. Okay, it's not the same. You can win. You can win. Nobody gonna help the Giants out. They need a lot of help. A lot. They stink. They stink bad. That was so bad that when Stephen A. Smith said that Lamar Jackson just had a bye week, that's the ultimate dish you can have. He threw 5 touchdowns, said that was a bye week. That's how pitiful they are. And they do suck. So, I mean, come on now. Nobody cares about the Giants no more. They need a lot more than him. A lot more. He go there and he'll be just like Bryce Young look. Because they don't have an Odell Beckham coming out of there that's gonna catch a great catch and be anything. Oh yeah, I gotta do Darvin Ham. Because he doesn't do commentary no more. I told you already. Ever since he got that dinky role in General Hospital, was Blake Dake, whatever his stage name is, Dexter, whatever. He been acting on First Take. He got fresh and fitty, slim down, wears those suits, hollers at Marley, shuffleboards. All he do is say, "Well, y'all know more than me," and all like that. Makes them stupid takes that gets ate up because Kimberly Frazier ate his board up yesterday, as did Mad Dog. They ate his board up, clowned him because he is inconsistent with his takes. That stupid take he made about Belichick going to the Cowboys should have told you. Darvin Ham was not one of those shuffleboard members. He wasn't gonna sit there and priss eyes with Jenny Buss and Linda Rambus. He didn't get invited to that Neapolitan ice cream s'mores that LeBron did. That was on company time, by the way. They let D'Angelo Russell sit there and shuffle and buck against Ham, disrespected that man multiple times. So that's what they want. JJ is prim and pompous, and they like that. They like this type of mediocre guy. That's what Stephen A. is allowed to happen. Mediocrity wins out. You just have to see it. All in their prime, start bench cut. I'm gonna. Ooh, this is a good one too. Ooh, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start. I'm starting. I'm gonna start Walton. Bench Jokic, and I guess I gotta cut Moses, even though that's tough for me to do. But Walton was a freak. Jokic, because his numbers he puts up. Moses was incredible. I can't cut Jokic though, because Jokic is like a machine. Inside out thing is scary. I'd start Moses and Walton, and I'd have to bench Jokic. That's what I do. Yeah, I'm kind of with Ted. I don't want to cut nobody out of them three. Moses and Walton, but Jokic off the bench would be scarier. But Moses would have to come off the bench with Walton and Jokic starting because they were more versatile. Walton, when he was healthy, you didn't get to see how healthy he was. He was a freak. Moses was bad, and he carried whack teams, which weren't super whack. But Jokic is, yeah, that's a tough. That's a good one, though, Jay. Will. Oh, there's too many to name. Michael Parsons is one of them. Sitting up there talking about the coach sucks, and then you up there talking about Joe Burrow MVP. He's one of them. Micah's in my mix. Obviously, Dak Prescott. Come on now, Dak stays in there. Um, let's see what else do I want to pick on. There's a lot of them. LeBron's in there. AD's in there. Anytime that they went against their black head coach, I got a problem with them. And they stuck with JJ Ridiculous. They tolerate D'Angelo Russell and they ran Russell Westbrook out, but nobody wants D'Lo because y'all can't even get a pack of now and laters and Kool-Aid packages for him. But y'all sit there and let him clown up on his coach, putting up a big old Easter egg and on the phone on the sideline. I got they are those they come. Joel Embiid is in there, obviously. Damian Lillard's in there. You ain't won nothing. Stop acting like you done won something. Got people up here hollering. This is the mindset that you got out here. So yeah, they fit in there. John Morant, stop with the antics, yo. Stop talking until you win. Okay. Any of these cats that's running their gums and ain't won nothing, you shuffleboard crew. So there's a lot of them. A lot. Okay, keep on hitting. We got likes and stream. Come on now. See what we got. What's happening? How you doing? Glad to have you come here. I guess you are from Australia. What's happening? Thank you for coming through. Please hit the like, subscribe. Welcome on board. And yep, the Aussie. What's happening? Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thanks for the donation, Jay Will. Jay Will, I like you a lot, man. You're a trip. But remember, Green Bay do got three. And they lost to Denver. Actually, no, they got four. Yeah, because Rod got one and Brett Favre got one. They've been to five Super Bowls. I don't know why you hating. You still probably mad about that 67 bowl with Bart Starr lined over and beat y'all in the coldest football game ever. Still hating out there in the cold. It's okay, though. At least you got memories. Even though we got to go back to when you the last time Dallas won a Super Bowl or in a Super Bowl, Yahoo was in a Sunday paper. Think about it. It's been a long time. You talk a lot of trash. Well, thanks for coming through, Aussie. Sorry we couldn't really get into rapping with you. Glad you came through. I'll be right back. I gotta make one stop. Don't move. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I just had to make a stop out. I'm back. Boris Diaw or Karan Butler? Karan Butler. Yeah, I like Boris Diaw, but Karan Butler was a guy that, if you ask me, who probably should have had, could have been an all star, had more of a career. Because I like Karan with Miami and what he did with the Lakers. I like Karan. Karan played hard. He did get a ring. Karan's one of those guys. Boris Diaw was a strong, legit. Okay, as a Heat fan, I can't ever give Boris Diaw no love, no way, because he tore the Heat's behind up. But Karan Butler for me. Quran was more of a starter. I had more movement with Quran, but I do respect Boris though. I had to think there for a moment though. I had to think. That's a pretty good question in a twisted way, because I don't really associate them being comparable. He got him a ring though, and he was one of those guys that if he stayed healthy in the race, he was tough. Yeah, so he was tough. I like Quran. I respect Boris. I think I looked at Boris more as a specialist. I looked at Quran more as a starter, so that's probably where I'm thinking. So, give me another question because that one was kind of jarring. They two different types of players, and I had to think for a moment. But Boris wasn't. He didn't. Quran had a chance to have a little bit more of a career. So you gotta give me some. You gotta give me a. Give me some that I can. Now that's better. That's better. Batty is gonna. I mean, Marion is gonna win. Better player overall. Battier's defense, though Marion was a good defender, but Sean Marion's gonna get the edge. I like Shane Battier a lot, but Marion was a bit more. You could do a little bit more with him offensively. Well, that's a good question though. Two Sean, two cats' name starts. I like the way Battier played. Yep, and yeah, never did though, because they took him a few years before they got Paul Gasol. Think about it, because that could have been like Babe Ruth for the Lakers if they don't get that. Yeah, he got traded to Memphis. You don't replace guys like that. You just don't. So yeah, I gotta take Sean Marion though. I like Batty though, but Marion was a bit better overall. Totality, totality. Oh, I agree because the problem with CP3 is that you have to stop and start. And see, the thing about it is Kobe never gelled with a perimeter. That was that's what separates him from Michael Jordan. So when people ever mention the Kobe Jordan thing, well, that's something that was noticeable to me. Kobe never did anything without a big local presence, whereas Jordan was able to offset working with a perimeter player. So that's what separated them right there. Kobe never did have success with trying to have a Scotty type because he had Lamar Odom. And tell me Lamar Odom couldn't do some of the stuff that CP3 couldn't do, but better. Because Lamar had was known as the handles. Well, it's because they're not allowing themselves to be educated. That's why. I get asked what was the difference. Yeah, everybody tells you about how much similar it was because Kobe modeled his game after him. He did develop his own thing, but he was like a basically a clone. But no, no, it's difference in that format because you have to compromise and you have to compartmentalize. I seen him with Lamar; they did not have that same success, and until they got Paul Gasol and was able to stretch the floor out and allow him the space and create on the perimeter and do his thing and then get others involved, he was not having any success when they tried to 1-2 punch with him, Lamar. So they need to let that go. Oh, Antonio, because Antonio got more out of his career. I know you're gonna come at me and say well, Odom one more ring. Antonio was a better player. Antonio hit better game-winning shots, and Lamar to me probably played his best ball in Miami. Lamar was always best if he was the third option when less was expected of him. Twan was nice, but Twine shimmied and became a one trick pony too much and got fat and greasy. And that big old head jelly roll. and we never got the totality of what we may have gotten out of him. Lamar had more talent, yes, but Walker got more out of his career. Vernon Maxwell, come on now, come on now, you got to do better than that. I'll forgive if you didn't see Mad Max play. Starks came up big in the postseason, and listen, John Starks is what I'll call a double junior whopper basketball version of Kurt Warner, bagging the groceries, and one of those stories where a guy who wasn't supposed to get to this level, and it's like a movie, it's a TV, you hit the lottery. But Vernon Maxwell was a better player. It's not even up for discussion because Vernon Maxwell was going up against Jordan, mano mano. Starks was a strong, like one of those cats that a feel good story, made himself into something, and you do give him respect. But Vernon Maxwell, come on, no, Vernon Maxwell just cray cray. Had he been on the straight and narrow, been focused, we might have been talking about a potentially great player. Yeah, they lost to the Nets, and I remember Pearl Pierce told him, he said, "Go on to Miami and get that ring." Thank you. See, I know why Ted went there because Starks had a big role because Pat Riley was tired of Patrick Ewing coming up short. He didn't get nothing out of Ewing and Oakley and those guys and Derek Harper. I mean, he didn't get nothing out of those guys. Starks was hitting that three. That's why. But that's one of the things. This is a good one. I like them both for different reasons. Hornacek got to Utah and he fit like a glove. Harper, I liked his game a lot, but he played his best ball in Dallas, so I gotta get to Hornacek. Hornacek was all right in Philly. Went to Utah. I don't know if you ever remember. Now this is back when the All Star Weekend counted. Because if Hornacek could have dunked, he was in the 3-point contest, skills contest. If he could have dunked, he would have been in that. He was having a Hornacek weekend. We were cracking. We used to have horny sec jokes all the time. Me and my boys used to crack up. We was called horny horn. Um, oh, pale face, looking like he's like he belonged in Utah. He looked like he fit in Utah real well. I think he had a better trajectory overall. I like Derek Harper a lot, but I think Harper was best in Dallas. He blended in New York, but he wasn't the same. Had he had a team where he could have just been instant offense, and he's a guy. If he played today, he'd be sick. Because what Cleveland does, both those guys put. You see what Cleveland's doing right now, right? Think about the Cavaliers right now as we talk with Mitchell and the other cats they got, right? Put them two on there right now. That's what Cleveland was doing. They still ain't got no Ron Harper in Cleveland right now, though. Nobody with that kind of spring. But if you put Harp style and Hornacek style with Cleveland right now, they would give Tatum and Brown a fit because those guys could do nothing but score. So that's what Cleveland's doing right now as we speak. So those guys, that's why I was glad when you mentioned some of these guys because then I could think about it in the context of where I think. But that's a good one. Though. But I like Harper better in Dallas. Hornacek was in Utah, came into his own. So but he stunk as a coach though. And Derek Harper's still cool. All right, now keep on with these questions. What now? We still live. Come on through. Please hit the like, subscribe. Keep on hitting. Keep on hitting. 75% says that they are considering to start watching NBA. Welcome and more thoughts. Hope you're still around. If you're still on, please continue to say something. Waiting, 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 waiting. Um, Totality, I gotta say, I'll break it like this: two of the 10 greatest players ever. I give a slight edge to Kareem because of the shot, the greatest shot ever. That alone, because he was versatile, and you could, and he thrived in different areas more so. I already did that video. It's a good move, not a great move. But Wilt is like Barry Bonds, Jim Brown, Babe Ruth, one of those iconic stances that it's its own category. So it's a but it comes down to Kareem being more of a dominant for his wins. That's what kind of comes down to. But it's no bad answer. Yeah, I already did the Cody Bellinger. If the Yankees get the guy from 2023, which they project out to be very good, but that guy that was from 2016 to 19 with the Dodgers was great. And I already did the video and I said as much that if he can't play with Dave Roberts' style, he must have fell off. Because Cody Bellinger would have been there where Freddie Freeman is if he could. Think about it. So he went to the Cubs and he went there to just stat pad, basically. So good player, good pickup. He'll hit some shots in the right field, the short porch. But it's not what they need. They're not able to track that. There's certain things they just not getting. Nobody cares though. You can say it, but nobody cares because he hit his peak, and that came and went. He hit his peak, and that came and went. And you know, I'm not really like gung ho about him or Max friend. It's all right. They have to do something to get consistency. And can they build on this year as a runner up? Can they come back with some fight next year? That's what's gonna be telling. Or will they be happy and complacent? We'll see. I think they're guys that can do something, but they still need someone that's a spark plug that can ignite it. The Mets are legit. The Mets, being realistically on paper, are the only team I think that can realistically got a shot against the Dodgers. With all due respect to Atlanta, all due respect to the Padres, because those other two teams, and Milwaukee by default. But it's one thing on paper, it's another when you put into action. Yeah, but like I'm gonna say it like this again. Dave Roberts got two rings. They've been in two. They won two chips in the last 4 or 5 years. That's all we're gonna remember. You win the ring. The Mets ain't been to a World Series since what 2016 when they lost to Kansas City and they were a lucky runner up. So you have all that. But remember what I told you too. Who was their former manager? And somebody's gonna come along and scoop it up. Cause Buck Showalter, who has a tendency to coach up teams, but because of his brazen vibe, people let him go. You've seen it again. So another example. We'll see. We should be in for an interesting year though. They got to play defense. They got to be healthy, and they need to make another move. They need to make another move. The Jimmy Butler move would be a good move. They need somebody with some tenacity that can be fit the spot. So they need something like that. I think that's the thing that they still got like a soft tendency that's there. But their defense has to step up. Eventually they gotta step up. So we'll see. We shall see. If I'm Miami, I'd strongly consider that move. If I'm Denver, I'd make that move. You just need somebody that can put some wood and can be consistent. You know, Miami is going for more of a perimeter thing. Porter Jr. would be a good fit. And then I think Miami can free up and get some more pieces. You know, but I don't know if he go to Denver. I think he wants to go to Phoenix. He put the ribbons in his hair. I ain't seen no blue and gold in his hair. He'd want to go to Phoenix because obviously he wants to go where the name brands is Phoenix, Golden State, and Dallas. Houston would be the only drop down he would because they're young and they got a lot of stuff. They got to do what they got to do to survive the NBA. That's all. They went where everybody had to go because that's what Adam Silver wanted. I told you before, it ain't got nothing to do with what the players want. It's what the culture is selling. That's what they not let you do your thing no more. That's the agenda. See, they pushing this narrative that this basketball is the greatest era you've ever seen. That's why they're allowing people to talk all reckless and greasy about the past. The agenda's loud and clear. That's why they got people saying the plumbers and the beauticians and the morticians and the, that's what they're trying to do. It's harder for them too because that's not their natural DNA. That's the reason why Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson ain't been traded yet, if you must know. Believe me, Pat Riley would have pulled that plug 5 years, pretty much after the last finals against Denver. But the problem is everybody does the same thing, and what you get in return is pretty much what you got, and you might not get what you got. That's why Gabe Vincent looks bad in LA because he fit better in Miami. And he going to LA and get the tan and trying to smile and catch on, he don't fit. But style wise, it worked, and that's what they're doing. But that's what you got to do. That's why it's hard to say who's a great coach and who's not because uh, you got to adapt to what they want. That's what Coach Spo's got to do if he wants to keep his job. They making you adapt. That's the sad reality of the NBA today. So, well, I've talked about it before. I mean, the NFL gonna have load management. I'm gonna tell you that they're gonna have load management soon. Because if you keep putting all these football teams playing 2 and 3 games and physical games, and that's gonna happen. Yeah, I heard about that. Phoenix is gonna start, but that's because Kirk Cousins are Wars welcome. You know he's overrated, and you know he be doing Kirk Cousin things. Funny story though, if Tampa Bay loses 2 games and Atlanta wins two, and Atlanta wins the division, Atlanta will win the division. So what do you do with Kirk Cousins? I knew this was going to happen. That's why they got Michael Phoenix before the season started because Kirk Cousins is an irregular quarterback. You know he's only good for about 10, 12 games before the wheels come off. So this wasn't by accident. But this is how he manipulates situations. Now you want to hear what the crazy rumor is going? Because I heard it last night on Nick Wright. Did you hear the crazy one that's going? If you have not heard the crazy story going about Kirk Cousins, give me a one. If you have, give me a two. So I know you're out here. Called Kyle Shanahan is considering trying to get him. That's the rumor going. Because if they don't re-sign Brock Purdy for that crazy amount of money, Kirk Cousins to the 49ers. Michael Phoenix could be Michael Vick 2.0 if he's good. Oh yeah, yeah. You know I get around. You gotta watch. Yeah, I watch. I was watching Nick Wrong because I watch those cats every day. I watch their segments, and that was one that came up. Kyle Shanahan, Kirk Cousins. So you heard it here first. If you ain't heard it nowhere else, you heard it here first. That's one of the ones that might be going down. Maybe. Kirk Cousins is gonna get him another job. If Daniel Jones can get a job, Kirk Cousins is gonna get two. Okay, just so you know, they do. And it's not as funny. It's funny, but it's not as funny as far fetched because now they actually dropping some signs now. Even though Nick Wrong still be wrong and Wiles be crack me up and Broussard be trying to play in between and they got chemistry. But I watch them. I I watch what they say, their segments and thoughts, and that one got my attention. So I had to highlight that one. And I'm not shocked or surprised though. But yeah, if he was anywhere else, he'd be sought out. He'd be scooped up because his humor and his stylings. If inside the NBA needed a cat that's kind of off center to be on there, he'd be great with Charles, Kenny, Shaq, and Ernie. Wiles would be the best fit. His humor loans itself to it because I like his vibe. He would fit. I was watching Charles Barkley on Dan Patrick yesterday. They told him about going to ESPN. He said, I ain't doing all that. Had me laughing. Charles like, I am not going to be doing this broadcast, that broadcast, this broadcast, that broadcast. So I'm gonna be playing golf in my backyard. I was cracking up. He was talking about it. Because he said he ain't signed no deals. He wants flexibility. Oh yeah. I got a feeling them cats may or may not all go in. I know Shaq will go in because Shaq ain't gonna turn down no money. Kenny already bought and paid for. Ernie, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. But Charles is serious. Charles is serious. I hate they have to get off of TNT though, cause I don't like ESPN at all, and I don't like what their humor is dry and vanilla and fake. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, so that's what's up. Anyway, anything else you cats want to talk about? Feel free. I am, like I said, I'm here for and all of the people that are in. Feel free to comment. I see more people coming through, so feel free if you got something to say. Feel free to come through. Um, Holiday weeks coming. There's a lot of stories going on. A lot going on. So feel free to whatever you're going to talk about. It can be sports related. It can be political related. It can be music related. It can be social related. Don't make no difference. So by calling them out, what does she mean? What's that mean? Can't imagine she say anything that I ain't heard already. Yeah, he didn't pay child support. I knew that already. But you gotta remember something. So there's certain videos and stuff I haven't talked about, but I've been privy to know. But I didn't really talk about everything with Rodman. But Rodman does has a it's a deadbeat kind of connotation. He didn't pay. He was covered by somebody too, and he kind of just literally he ain't just known as the worm. He worms his way around. Yeah, he's like that. He's got a deadbeat route. What you want me to do about that? LeBron is not there. Carmelo is not there. So Karl Malone is ahead of Wilt, Bird, Magic, Russell, and Shaq. Yeah, okay. Why would you even bring that in here unless you want me to just laugh, laugh, laugh in the face? That's hilarious. Um, so what I had heard, he ain't pay no support. He's always crying himself because he's still recovering from his own childhood. I'm gonna address that in just a minute, Jay Will. He is too, probably. Um, we're gonna address that in just a little bit. Let me address what Ted is saying about Rodman's daughter. Yeah, he been living high on a hog. He went bankrupt, spent money, club hop, chased all them skirts, and no one ever talks about this. But he's been covered. He's been covered. But yeah, it's been kind of known about him now. Nah, you know. But Rodman's been covered. Most of them are covered. Yeah, he did. Racially and psychologically. Well, yeah, you can kind of tell by some of his actions. Okay, Jay, well, let me address this. Of course, Akeem was better than Karl Malone. He's got the rings for one thing. He's considered, I think he had more impact, but I wouldn't have no problem if you had Karl Malone as one of your 20 greatest players. I ain't gonna argue that. LeBron is way too high. Uh, you have one, two, three, four centers, which I can agree with. Shaq's too low. Russell would be too low. And if you have Tim Duncan fourth, you got to maybe have him higher because he had more impact as a team leader. He had just as much impact as a team leader on his teams as Kareem MJ, and more so than LeBron. He did. Because Shaq was talking about how he helped make Parker and Ginobili good, which he did. And he played with David Robinson, who's considered one of the 25 greatest players ever. So that's a whole different situation and category right there. Wilt would be for what he accomplished, you know. So I don't agree with this list. And Steph Curry should be in the top 10 somewhere. So no, I don't agree with this list at all. So it's a no for me, dog. Okay, so let's keep this poll going. Let's see what we got so far. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Like beat me out. Let's finally see a little bit ago. Yeah, well, they're being bought and paid to say it. About time for what? The go to what? Because it's fashionable to diss Michael Jordan, even though I don't have neither one of them as goats. But it's fashionable to say what? They don't even know why they're saying it. What has he done better than what Jordan did? What has he done? Because he stacked pile teams that could win chips. Is that what we're going based on? That's what he did. Dwayne Wade is one of the 25 greatest players ever. You better win. Chris Bosh is one of the somewhere between 50, 60 greatest if you want to. You better win. Kyrie Irving should be one of the 75 greatest players ever. You better win. Anthony Davis considered. You see where I'm going with this? I'm not trying to hear that mess. They're trying to justify his angle. They're trying to. The longer he plays, the worse he looks. And now he just stat padding and looks ridiculous. Tricks be everywhere. I heard about that. I didn't want to touch that mess because, first of all, that's common more than people think. You know, we live in a so called Me Too cancel culture, this and that and the other, but yet they still passing around and stuff what they do in the industry. Any woman that brags or boasts about that, she's trying to catch Wilt Chamberlain. Excuse me. I mean, that tells you we're still in caveman days. There's some dirty guys out. That's why you got all this stuff that's out here. So, of course you do. But that's the legalization of what we have. That's well, think about it. We have OnlyFans, which is as big as anything. The OnlyFans is today's penthouse and player, penthouse and Playboy Mag. That's what we got today. So there you go. They bring the fantasies to life. That's what you got. So and you before you know it, you'll probably have a Senate seat. Be like some experiment, you know. So I saw that mess. I didn't really want to touch it, but there's a lot that. Well, yeah, because dudes will not. Most cats won't turn down nothing. Be out here in the streets, and there's There's no shame in the game. But again, it's kind of ironic that we're in an era where they talk about bringing up these, let's say, past situations, and yet you got a woman who's boasting and bragging about something like this. So, that's a dicey call. That's a very touchy subject. Oh, they do. They do. They do. Body count is real, yo. Body bag is real. It is real. They take that serious. That's out here on these streets. If you watching some of the YouTube videos, they got that. They for real with that. Hmm. I don't even know what she looks like, but I read about it. But I ain't paying no mind. I don't do everything for clicks and views. I'm not knocking no one who do. It's just not something I really want to surround any day myself talking about because it's a lot of that goes on. You'll be surprised. That's how deals are still getting done in Hollywood. I told you about this industry. It's happening in the sports world too. A lot of them get passed around from players to singers to rappers to actors to politicians. You just don't hear about it. That's all. It's still going down. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Oh, they don't care what color you are. If you're a freak, they take whatever. That ain't no that because freaks comes in all ice cream truck flavors. Believe me on that. Believe me on that. The ice cream truck don't miss. They take them all. Okay, so let's keep the conversation going. Let's see what we got. Well, yeah, but I'm telling you, that's what they put. That's what's being put out here. So it's a lot of politics. I call it politics. Pile of tricks. Think about it. You be lying all the time now. You got to be on your game. You got to be on your game. So she does it. She's gonna probably get paid something for it. Somebody gonna be down with it. Tell you the body count thing is real in these streets though. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you like this: if I was to do videos like that, I could probably blow this channel way up and do that pervert stuff. I'm just not into that though. Complex dude. Went through some real drama as a kid. Um, I said that. You remember? I told you. Cheeks for checks. Booty for the looty. Those are my two terms. Copywritten by me. Those are my two terms. Because it applies in all walks of everything. All that's what they do. Ain't no different. Ain't no shame. Just saying. She didn't ruin him. He was already ruined. He got ruined because he went higher than he could imagine. He came out of college and became one of the greatest players ever. Had dysfunction with his first marriage, the break baby, the lifestyle. But I think, I don't know him that like that. I've heard things said about him. I've heard some things, odd cat in some ways. Got an interesting mix of intelligence though, because he is definitely an entrepreneur business cat. He definitely weighs his options. Well, Jerry Jones be doing all kinds of stuff. Him and Robert Kraft are two peas of a pod. Well, I'll never know what goes on with some of these things, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just leave it at that. he's at. He's a company man, so he's on company time. But she didn't ruin him. She was ruined already, and the industry's like that. You know, when they link these people together, they ain't by accident. So again, a lot of that is common in the industry. There's a lot of stuff that you look at. How is he strange? Talking about Hal Steinbrenner. How is he strange? What makes him strange? I think D Wade know what he was into, and the whole thing is like the way it is. That's the times we're in. Magic Isaiah's sons and stuff. So I mean, you see some things, you hear some things. Can't be mean enough today because it's not the same baseball era. When you were born in that 10-year time period, the first 15 years, that was a different era. Baseball changed. I think everything changed when the Red Sox won it all, if you want my honest opinion. Then Boston won it, then the White Sox won it, the Cubs won it, all the teams. That was like a different thing. So I think that you can't go back to something that's not there. It's a different day and climate. I guess which Jason Williams are we talking about? You talking about white chocolate, or you talking about the one that took out the limo driver? Because you got to clarify. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that's why you can't be mean enough. Because even Steinbrenner took that one where that was the dawn of a new day. You know, the way they lost to the Florida Marlins, they looked like they were happy to be there. The 2004 bit. Oh, I guess him by default. By default. For me, that's not a real strong debate, but white chocolate by default for me. He got a little more going for him. But baseball changed, yo. So it changed. I don't think he got to. I just think they just got to be smart. It ain't about being mean. I just think they got to be smart. They really in a no-win situation because they're not attracting top of the line people. How did they fail? How did they fail? Jeter was old. Matsui was old. They got Ichiro. He was old. How did they fail? A-Rod got old. How did they fail? They lost Clemens and Petty. Yeah, but then you gotta remember that if you go back the last 15 years, they have won 5 rings and went to 7 World Series. So you can't run it. It's not gonna be something that you run like that. The Giants, the Cardinals, and the Red Sox won multiple. So sometimes they were better teams. The Astros were the best team for a 10-year window. Won 2 chips. It's tough. Everybody has their look. I remember as a Yankee fan in the '80s, they signed everybody, and they didn't. They went to one World Series with Winfield and Reggie, with Ricky Henderson later. And it wasn't until '95 that they got back, 96 that they got back again. So remember how I looked at it. They won 15 years. That's what you're seeing. Actually, you're seeing the usual way for the Yankees. It's usually like 10, 15-year droughts. That's how it was where I remember. Baseball is not like NFL or NBA where your favorite team's got a chance to win multiple, especially when the competition has been watered down. Everybody's got a chance. So I don't even look at the Yankees as the best team I saw at the American League this year, but they happen to go. But it's different. I don't look at it as a fail. They weren't that good in that era. And when they got a chance against the Astros, or whatever you want to say what the Astros did, Astros was better. Can't say if he did or he didn't. He benefited from everything like everybody else did. When you say something like that, You got to consider there was pitchers that were juiced and ballparks were built in. He wasn't the baddest when he went to Cincinnati and the White Sox, though. Now, look, I thought Griffey Jr. was one of the most natural players I ever saw, but he hurt his case when he left Seattle. When they put the fences back, he left Safeco and went out and want to cry and won't go home. And he pretty much career went under for 5 years because Cincinnati didn't do nothing, and he took a hit. If I go without the juice, if I was going, to I still take Bonds over him because Bonds from Pittsburgh to Frisco still was a 400 man. You can take that to the bank. That's Hall of Fame first ballot, no matter how you look at it. You can break down Barry Bonds, and he still got 2 trips to the Hall of Fame. Take your pick. What about the Dodgers in the 2020s? Well, pitchers were juicing too. Ballparks with balls were bouncing. Umpire strike zones were wide. So it's kind of hard to say because guys could, they were allowed. Again, it's what the commissioner and the powers that be want. You're making my argument why these players don't have no say. It's what the game calls for. It's what the game wants. The game is the ones who run it, not the players. The players don't run jack. Brady Anderson hit 50 plus home runs, and that was a big woo. There's a lot of guys who hit a lot of home runs. That's what the commissioner want. He did a commercial. The chicks did the long balls. Think about it. Commissioner said that with Maddox and Glavin walking by Mark McGuire. That was done on purpose. They know what's up. What about the 2020 Dodgers, Ted? They left me hanging. 60-40 now. Would you ever start watching the NBA? Okay, at least I got the 10 on that. That's cool. All right, what's up, one and O's? Thank you for coming through. They got to win one more, or at least get to another World Series. Then I would say that. Good question, Jay Will. I would tell you there's a few. Boxing was one of them. That was a must back in the day. Baseball until recently, because that was one. Yeah, I did a video about him, one and O's. I did a video about. I did about him. I did it. That's a very interesting story too. Um, yeah, boxing, baseball, and I would probably say those two come to mind. Tennis, but I did get me back when Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and them were balling, and Andy Murray and Serena. So football's increased more as time's gone on. But baseball was my number one sport back in the day. Yeah, because boxing was more competitive back in the day. If you especially the late 70s, early 80s, up to the early 90s, there was a lot going on. You had middleweight, you had heavyweight, middleweight, lightweight. You had compelling stories. Yeah, Rayford was the kingpin you were talking about. I did a video on my channel. If you get a chance, peep it out. He had association with the Georgetown Hoyas back then. Coach John Thompson stepped to him and said, "Leave my boys alone." That's they were recruiting back then. That's a long time ago when you said McGregor. Because McGregor would get paid by fighting Logan Paul. I tell you, McGregor got somebody got some big money on him. Cause how he still gets juice, I don't know. He's got juice though. Okay, if anybody's on, feel free to comment. Kind of a slow day today, I could tell. Well, the time depends on what part of the country you're in. If you are in the East Coast, it is approximately 10:22. And if you're in the West Coast, it is 7:32. Thank you for coming from Greece. Okay. Yeah. Have you been on this channel before? Because I'm trying to remember if I seen you. Now, what time are in Greece right now? Okay, I'm waiting for someone to say something. Okay, gotcha. There has been a divide that's been done, and sometimes purposely. Um, in my encounters, there's some Africans who, I'll say it like this. Um, some of them think that Black Americans are beneath them. Some people look at down based on they don't understand we've been in the same kind of divide and conquer. So there's a lot of education. It's been done on purpose to keep the divide. Somehow, again, not understanding about not working together. So some real division there. He was, and he did even bigger business when he was locked up. I know all about the cat because did any of you watch the movie Above the Rim? If you saw Above the Rim, give me a one. Dwayne Martin was in it. That's Will Smith's buddy. And you know about Dwayne Martin, you already know about Dwayne Martin. Because I always thought that movie kind of like the Allen Iverson story. But I'll tell you why. If you ever seen Above the Rim with Tupac, Dwayne Martin, and Marlon Wayans and Wood Harris, give me a one if you've seen it. And Leon was in the movie too. Give me a one if you've seen Above the Rim. If you've not seen Above the Rim, give me a two. And I'll tell you how this kind of the storylines. Give me a one if you've seen Above the Rim. Give me a two if you haven't. Anybody on or not? Because I don't see anybody give me no signals. I guess nobody's on, so I'm gonna go in a couple of minutes because I need some responses. Asking about that movie because I can tell you. Yeah, you gotta let me know you're on because I will click off. I'm not getting responses for nobody. So what I was gonna say is in the movie Above the Rim, if you've never seen the movie with Tupac and Leon, it reminded me of Allen Iverson. It was based off of a guy street hustling, and it was very much similar to what he did in D.C. And what they did is that they gave guys money, shoes. That's how they buy you in the streets. It's violations against. That's why the NCAA now has the NIL. The street hustlers was known boostering you. paying you while you play. Even believe it or not, Wayne Brady had that movie with oh God, what's his name that was in it? He always plays black superheroes. I can't even think. Sometimes he do. No, that's not what I'm going at with this though. I'm making a point about it. Wayne Brady was playing a street hustler in it. I can't think of the cat that's in it. Tall, slender dude, dark skinned brother that he was in one of those hangover movies. I can't think of him right now. But anyway, if you ever seen Above the Rim, that's what it was based on. Dwayne Martin. It was kind of based on that. Tupac was playing the kingpin, and so they organize it, especially with high school. That's how they control you. So if you go to college, they boost your shoes, they pay you, and that's how the shave and all the hustle goes on. It's a local hustle, and they get you to play in these tournaments. So that was part of it. But John Thompson stood to him though. Yeah, I heard about that a long time ago. BET used to have this show called American Gangsters, and they used to have, and that's one of the times that he came. So it was a whole segment about it, black gangsters. Cat was smart, like intelligence. He just didn't apply it to, you know, if you learn the street trade, you could probably be a scientist. You could probably be a mathematician. Some of these cats got incredible mindsight, but it goes towards destroying the community. That's the sad part. Well, the NIL is just done because it's already been in place because they make tens of millions of dollars off the students. It looks good now when they could have been doing it. They make a ton of money off of jerseys, which they still profit off of. You don't own nothing. You don't get no keep of it, but they get to pimp your likeness. That's all. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go in a little bit because I'm not getting a lot of buzz here today. I'll be on for a few more minutes. It's not really happening today for a reason because I'm looking for some, you know, I need some questions and some stuff. So if you don't be going too long, because I need to get that feedback. It's kind of trying to get people to talk, and if people are leaning in, feel free to conversate. If you are, what's up? I am right here. What's up? What's up? What's up? If you got any questions? See what's going on. Just trying to see if anybody wants to talk about anything because it's been kind of, yeah, people been kind of coming and going. I don't know what's going on today. But if you got any questions, feel free to ask. If not, I'm going to bounce because I want to make sure we're getting conversation in. What would be great? What would be great? What would be great? Dangerous team if they get in the playoffs and stay healthy. I don't think that's their problem. I think their problem is their defense. I think Stafford's okay for another year or two. I think they need defense though. Don't know. I think Stafford's got a couple more years. They're not gonna trade it for him. They don't need him. Probably gonna be be something going down. That's probably what's going on. Like most places, it's gonna be something that's up. A lot of them are in trouble. You got to see something set it off soon. Oh yeah, they probably had something attacked. That's probably what it was. I don't know all the extent of it, but there was something that went on. I think I did hear something was going on, but again, there's a lot going on. It's the times we're living in. Got a feeling something's going down. You just said you just got through talking to me one and ain't no so make sure you are accurate. He doesn't like the fact that she's not going to play the game. So that's all. Because he plays a role. When he is a journalist, I can respect him to an extent. But when he plays that game that you're supposed to, you see, because he's been taught and conditioned not to think for his complexion. That's why he's saying that. I don't look at Caitlin Clark like that. She was making common sense. She didn't go out of her way to say that she was going to stop her privilege. She just pointed out the obvious. That's all. But see, he's bought and paid for, so he has to play the dual role because he thinks that everything is porcelain is all right. That's why he says what he did. Probably what happened in your neighborhood. Probably would, especially in these political times. Probably would. No, you shouldn't play that because you say the wrong thing, people are not going to take kind to it. They didn't want to catch him. Sometimes it's called hood justice. I've been there. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You come in the neighborhood, you driving the wrong car, or you in the wrong section, they gonna act like they don't know. So, I've been there. We had a couple episodes back in the day. Ain't nobody ain't nothing. You where you ain't supposed to be. People knew about what people were saying. They're like, oh well, if someone invites you to a party and they have you as a guest, you don't go in there and bring your own chairs and bring your own food and bring your own music. You understand what I'm saying? Don't be none. Don't do more than you're supposed to do. No, they not gonna care about you. That's why they was talking about vigilante, because they don't care what they gonna care about. But they know. Now don't get it twisted. They know. They knew back in the day where I was coming along because we had some cats that were rough around the edges, but they knew him by name. They just didn't do nothing. They knew exactly. I'll never forget. I'll share a story. When my grandmother had passed, the cop called out one of the dudes. Cracked me up. Because reputation had predated. They seen him in action, so they know. Mm-hmm. That's what you seen. Mm-hmm. Right now, when they stopped, when they shut down the record stores, because people don't buy records no more and everything's streamed. Yeah, he was. They named the street over him in Newport News, Virginia. I used to go to Newport News. That turn certainly was. He didn't have a chance time to be settling for stuff because freedom was at stake. And you gotta remember the hunter and the prey, so it was real. I bought the book on him. I read on him. Like I said, I used to live in Hampton, so I used to go to Newport News. And Nat Turner was is a real street, and he was real. It was real, and it wasn't that long ago either. It wasn't that long ago. What you mean my thoughts are? I'm a big Malcolm respecter. What you mean? I hold Malcolm in high regard. I quote him a lot, but especially when I talk about you can't depend on black celebrity and athletes and entertainers. I use his quotes. I do quote him. I also respect him as Elijah Shabazz because he broke from the nation. He was a freedom fighter. He by any means he had three indoctrines, which is incredible about the man. He taught himself as Malcolm Little how to read and write. He came into his vision as Malcolm X, and then he became well rounded as Elijah Shabazz. He was a very complex, distinctive man. He learned and taught himself how to be mobilized. He was a precursor to things of Tupac. There was a lot of life there with him. He moved a lot of people. Do you know that Clarence Thomas was once a follower of Malcolm in another life? A lot of them start that way. Now, he had a conservative mindset because he put away the things he did, but he wasn't part of any of those parties, though. but he spoke about what's the what? What's the what? No, we're talking about Malcolm X. We're not talking about football. We're talking about stuff in America. There was a lot of layers to Malcolm X. So if you read the book, but if you read about Elijah Shabazz, but if you read about Malcolm Little, if you know about the variations of him, oh yeah. Well, in the '60s, a lot of cats were down with situations. Clarence is a country brother. He just shuffled, but he a country cat. It's not that far fetched because black folks were conservative. And if you read the Nation of Islam and what Malcolm was, he wasn't like not in. You could be conservative and respect what he was about. You could be. I read about Clarence Thomas a long time ago. Hmm. He wasn't qualified for his job, but he worked. He was in the right place, right time. But yeah, I don't know because I don't go to baseball games and I don't eat there. Wrong person to ask. Most people might mess with nachos. It depends on what ball game you go. Depends on what. So I'll give you an example. I was in Seattle once. They got gourmet. So again, it depends on where you go to. Depends on what you eat because it's different where you go. All places don't serve the same thing. They have different food at different places. That's a lot of acting that goes on. Well, again, when you're bought and paid for, a lot of acting goes on. Candace is just another actress like the rest of them. No different. She just got bought and paid for. That's all that was. If you get bought and paid for, you'll dance to any beat, any drum. But used to people used to say hot dogs on. They used to have them foot long. Depends where you were going to. Mm, I don't know. That's a very wide range topic, so I can't really say. I don't think about no entertainers I bring back. I don't think about anybody like that, because I think that we mourn them and we have to acknowledge that they're no longer here. So I don't know. That's a very touchy subject. So I'm going to pass on that one. That just when he made that idiotic remark that the Warriors and Spurs won a dynasty, he's pompous and he's still smug. He still thinks if you have a six pack, that's the way that you're going to be the best. And he used that for Alonzo Mourning against Shaq, even though Alonzo was not Shaq. And Michael Jordan came out, and I think that was a diss at him when he said Alonzo wasn't mentally tough against Rodman. Because Rodman was everything Pat Riley would have wanted in a player. You have to go against him. So, you know, that's my knocks against them. The dissing of Golden State and San Antonio is ridiculous. They're dynasties, man. Please. Spurs won 5 chips, went to 6 finals in a 15 plus year run. Give me a break, man. Times you gonna see teams win that. Golden State, 6 trips, 10 years, won 4 chips. Come on, man. He not, he's selectively senile, but he hates it because it's not someone he's associated with. See, because the Lakers and of course the Celtic rivalry, and then of course the Lakers and A's, and of course he slurped up to Michael Jordan. So that he always throws diss tracks. I've been around Riley's styling to know what that's about. But I try not to have anything bad to say about him because I do respect him as probably one of the 4 or 5 greatest NBA coaches ever, which I hold him in high regard as an executive, success in 3 different teams, decades. You know, got much respect for him. However, that knock against the Spurs and the Warriors was, you ain't gotta like them, but they were dynasties. I don't think he's senile. I don't. Mm-mm. I'm not reading it as senile. I just reading it as him being a hater. That's not. There is no sign of him being senile because he wasn't senile when he went on Jimmy Butler last year. Now, what was senile about that? He spoke the facts. What you mean the rating system? I don't know what that means. He's not senile though. He's a hater. All right, thank you. If you're asking me about the Nielsen ratings, I can tell you about why people ain't watching that whack game. But if you're asking about like a gaming, I don't know. Depends on what the question is. If you're asking me about why the ratings are what they are, I can answer that though. The game stinks because everybody shoots threes. They don't play no defense. There's no identity. It's just a game of hero ball, and it feels like every man for themselves. It's why I got the poll question today out here right now. Why I asked the question with people start watching. I've seen it before. So it's the reason why it suffered a great deal. Why people, you know, Charles Barkley was on Dan Patrick yesterday, and he said they should start the NBA on Christmas Day because no one is. They should shorten the season because no one's feeling it. They can't compete with the NFL. They can't compete with college football. And baseball just had a hit with the postseason, so it's what they've done is that they made it so one sided that the games are blurred and people are tired. They need new blood. That's why I want the day when LeBron, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Kevin Durant all retire. CP3 retires. All the old guard go out. Kawhi Leonard. Then you get the new guys, the guys that are playing, the Shays, the Jokers, Lucas, Jason Tatum Brown. Gotta have those guys run the league. Brunson, Cleve, you need to see that. The old guard gotta go. I think that's what we gotta have, Giannis. All that, those guys need to run the league. I watch all old All Star games. I don't miss them. I watched them, and I got them in my mind too because I remember a lot of them. I remember when the Tom Chambers won an All Star coming off of Seattle, hooking up with Magic, and when Ralph Sampson came up big. Everybody wanted everybody to go play with Magic because the way they looked in All Star games. I remember when Marvin Gaye sung and had the West feeling it a certain way. I remember that. But the NBA All Star game been trash for like 20 years. Because when Tracy McGrady threw that one off the rim when Jordan's last All Star game, I knew right there that was the end of it as I remembered it. And guys were hating it back then because Shaq was hating it then too. The difference was is that guys still were playing the last 5 minutes of the game. That's the difference. They don't even do that now. They used to at least suck for 3 quarters, and then the last 5 minutes they tighten up. They don't even they have no rhythm of tighten up. That's the difference. That's why it stunk past decade plus. But that's Adam Silver. That's what they wanted. So old All-Star games used to matter. This mess is embarrassing. Okay, I'll be home for 10 more minutes, then I'm gonna go because I've been here for over 2 hours. So we coming to track. I'll probably be back on Saturday. Um, Back in the day, seeing someone like Tom Chambers or Ralph Sampson standing out, I liked it. Magic All Star game in '92, which was, you know, that was great to watch. Uh, just watching guys have an opportunity to shine that didn't normally. Yeah, I don't watch the NFL Pro Bowl, nothing no more. That mess is even worse than the NBA. That's even worse because they play flag football, and I ain't watching that mess. That mess is horrible. And I don't like no pro skills comp, no way. I told you people like Jeff George and Jay Plummer would win the throwing one, and they stunk. Their careers weren't half of what they did as far as contests. That's debatable. That's debatable. Because, I mean, you could make usual cases and suspects, but it depends on the team, the era, and how you feel about it. It's debatable. I don't be dealing with no trolls, and that's too freaky, so he got to go. But that's debatable. Come on, what? The reason why it's tough to say who's the best number one pick because you can make a case for Shaq, you can say for Magic, they were number one picks. What does it mean? And then how we, compartmentalize with how the guys turn out. LeBron was the number one pick, but again, different eras, different times. That's why you can't make that pick. 50-50 now on the poll. Okay. Okay. See some more people coming through, so we're working with. But then why would you ask me for? I'm not gonna really like to answer that because it's always like this pro LeBron James thing going. I'm not the person. I'll tell you right now. I don't mind. I'm glad that people come through the chat, but if you're gonna bombard me about your LeBron James and all that, you're in the wrong place. I'm not gonna say that. I'll never say that for lots of reasons. Because unless Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic, Bird, others get to pick and choose where they want to go and stack up, we'll never know. They didn't get to do that. So that's what I'm not trying to hear though. Okay, see what time I got. 5 more minutes to go before I go. So if anybody got something to say, let's chop it up. I'll come back on Saturday and I hope we will have a full house. Hopefully we'll get a good conversation launched. Because I do like coming live, but I need people to hit the questions, hit the support, and hit them polls up. Because the more the merrier. Shows me that you're really on it about something. And we got a lot of stuff we can talk about. I just don't want to be inundated with the whole LeBron James thing all the time. If you got something to say, say it. All right. Well, thank you for coming through. Hope you get some light and grease though. But appreciate you coming through though. Have a good night. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you. Because they get to play front, they got to play against grown people. They not all lumped together. I think that they actually like when even when Ginobili, when those guys played back then, Kobe got to play against grown men, and it was more physical. So I think they're getting taught the fundamentals. Plus, they didn't get to carry the ball and walk and travel. They got taught the fundamentals. That's what's missing in today's NBA. Basic guys can't even shoot 10-foot shots. Can't, don't rebound, don't pass with accuracy, and settle for shooting long range shots. Don't work on bank shots. Don't work on drives, finger rolls, curls, setting screens. Don't set for helping out each other out. So they were back in the day because you had like imposing black centers in the NBA. You don't have no Shaquille O'Neals today. You don't have no Moses Malones today. You don't have no Artis Gilmores today. You don't have guys like Daryl Dawkins or Maurice Lucas. You don't have those guys like a Nate Thurman who was tough, a Wes Unseld who could pass as good as Kevin Love and could box you up and score on you. You don't have that no more. You used to have pit bulls in the box. Guys were scared. So the NBA did that on purpose, though. That's why Ben Wallace's types aren't in the NBA today, and Ryman types are in the NBA today. They'll have you thinking that Draymond Green is like a hybrid of all of them because he can score and run and shoot and pass and all that. That's what they manipulate you on. But he would not have been able to make it back then. So they did this on purpose. This is done by the powers that be. This has got nothing to do with too big, too strong, too all that. It's a political move. Dirk was one of those guys they thought was soft, and then he did something that most of them couldn't do. He could take you out and hit that fadeaway, and he beat the big three, and that pretty much took the stigma away right there. Arguably the toughest run to the finals. So you know, so which people don't want to give him his due. Ain't no stigma no more though. They run the league. All the best players are from other countries. And maybe till you get to Tatum and Brown that you get the best American born, but that's all right. I'm gonna go. Ain't nobody coming through. Appreciate it when it did come through. Thanks for the likes and the poll questions, and hopefully Saturday we'll get it back sharp where we get more views and more responses, and I appreciate it. Have a good day. Peace. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm out. Peace.